Hey, and we're live. Hello, everyone.
On the evening of December 18th, 2022, a YouTuber by the name of VoteSaxon07 went live to his 37,000 subscribers.
What more could you want for Christmas other than an evening with your old pal, Stephen?
The impromptu Christmas stream was titled The Violent Night Christmas Live Gaming Stream. Wearing a Santa hat, drinking and vaping, 32-year-old Stephen McCullagh sat and played Grand Theft Auto Vice City and Robot Wars Arenas of Destruction for a total of 6 hours and 4 minutes.
That's why I like sticking to just doing crimes in a video game.
Viewers watched Stephen laugh and joke with the camera, whilst casually sipping from cans of Guinness and knocking back multiple shots of Baileys in his usual jolly persona. He made several obscure remarks during the stream, complaining about technical difficulties with the live chat, complaining about his upcoming work week, discussing his Christmas plans, and looking straight into the lens to promise his audience, "I'm not leaving the house tonight." As his viewers watched him descend into a loud, drunken gameplay session, a real-life horror movie was gradually unfolding on the dark, freezing streets outside. Because Stephen was not actually sitting in that gaming chair, and the live stream had in fact been pre-recorded several days earlier. Outside, Stephen was almost 20 miles away, wearing a disguise, and slowly heading towards the home of his pregnant girlfriend, Natalie McNally. He had given himself exactly 6 hours and 4 minutes to execute what he believed was the perfect murder, and his digital countdown was already rapidly ticking away, just as quickly as the final moments of Natalie's life were.
Hello and welcome to Our Good Murderer podcast. We are back again with a brand new case, and I'm joined in the hot, sunny climate of the United Kingdom by Mr. Benjamin Carter.
Good morning. Yes, happy. Yeah, we're in the midst of an unprecedented heat wave at the moment. That's why we're filming a bit earlier. A bit crusty-eyed, but couldn't be happier to be with my best boys to talk about an absolute piece of shit, being Stephen McCullagh. How are you, Dan?
Yeah, very good. It is very hot and sweaty outside. Praise the Lord for aircon. No, I'll stop banging on about it.
Please do.
This one is horrid. It's absolutely horrid, and especially because it's kind of in our world, isn't it? You know, we do the odd live stream here and there, which is actually fantastic fun
And
legitimately fun. But as I was reading about this case, I was kind of thinking, to do a live stream, you do have to be in a certain kind of frame of energy. And watching Stephen's live stream, knowing what happened and how calculated it was, is horrifically eerie watching it back. I don't know what you think, Tom.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think it's very jarring when you know exactly what's happening during it, and also it definitely gives an eye on how manipulative he is and how he's able to turn on that kind of energy and that fakeness. I know a lot of YouTubers in the past got accused of being fake and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, you can kind of see, where, especially from his history as well, which we'll go into, the kind of person he was in real life, especially in certain scenarios, to how he was on screen. It was very different, and then it appears, you know, how in other situations he was even more dark and twisted as well. It was just the kind of speed of its acceleration in this case which really kind of disturbed me. But in Crusty Eyes, what do you think?
Dude, that's going to catch on, isn't it? Crusty Eyes and
well,
shit.
Sounds like it already has caught on.
I agree with both of you. I think what I found really odd was these little creepy Easter eggs that he chose to leave in there. I don't know what his end goal was with that, but also Tom made a really good point in the contrast between his real life persona and his YouTube persona. And his real life persona, I feel like we all probably went to school with a Stephen McCullagh type, which makes me a little bit nervous. But yeah, we're gonna dig into exactly how he became, what he became, and why he did it. And it's heartbreaking. It's really, really disturbing.
So yes, Ben, without further ado, what is today's case?
So today we are here to discuss Stephen McCullagh, from YouTuber to murderer.
So in order to understand how on earth things ever escalated to this terrifying point, at least in Stephen's mind, we're going to take a look at the backgrounds of both Natalie and Stephen before moving to the timeline of events.
Natalie McNally was born on the 27th of October 1990 in the town of Lurgan, which is in County Armagh, Northern Ireland. She was the youngest of 4 children born to Noel and Bernadette Bernie McNally, and she had 3 older brothers. Natalie was incredibly close to her family, with the McNallys being described as very tight-knit and loving. Her mother described her daughter as her absolute best friend, whilst her father described her as his princess. During her early years, her parents and older brothers absolutely doted on her and became increasingly more protective of her as she grew up. Not long after her 2nd birthday, Natalie was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, which only increased her family's natural protection of her. As she grew older, Natalie became passionate about healthcare equality, apparently publicly campaigning about the NHS waiting lists for insulin pumps in Northern Ireland compared to England. Longer wait there. Inside and outside of school, Natalie was very well liked. She was intelligent and confident and was passionate about all elements of her life. After finishing school, Natalie went to university and later returned home not just with 1, but 2 degrees. Armed with her qualifications and a fierce new sense of independence, she quickly built a successful career as a marketing executive for TransLink, which is Northern Ireland's public transport provider. She also then purchased a home of her own on the Silverwood Green residential estate, which is on the outskirts of Lurgan. Looks like a new build estate, but looks like a nice one. Not that you get... I mean, you do sometimes get bad ones, but I know that there are some really nice ones close to the podcast. I immediately didn't want to get you down, sorry. But it looks nice. We'll pop some pictures up of the Silverwood Green residential
and Dan's
estate.
house. Let's put Dan's house up.
Why is his postcode printed on the house? Natalie had now built a life for herself that she had always dreamed of. She was financially independent, she had a successful career, she had a loving family and a close circle of friends, and she now had her own sanctuary for herself, River, Yoko and Storm. And River, Yoko and Storm are her dog and 2 cats. By the summer of 2022, everything in Natalie's world appeared to be falling perfectly into place. She was 31, outwardly content and thriving. It was during this happy chapter that she decided to create an account on the dating app Bumble, and it was on this app that she matched with a 31-year-old YouTuber by the name of Stephen McCullagh.
Is Bumble the female first app?
Yeah, they put a line in, I think, first. I bet I wouldn't know. Go on, you tell us.
I think you're right. Bumble is the one where they have to message first, I think.
It's to stop creepy messages from guys, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
The girls have to message first on Bumble is the top search. What's Raya?
That's for rich people.
What's Coffee Meets Bagel?
What's
Coffee Meets Bagel is like on there. Women no longer have to message first on Bumble. Oh.
The patriarchy has...
Let's take the one thing that makes us
Push back.
unique, and let's just go. So now we're like every other app.
Coffee Meets Bagel is a popular dating and social networking app designed primarily for singles seeking committed long-term relationships. It is well known as an anti-swiping app that provides users with a curated list of high-quality matches daily, rather than relying on endless profile browsing.
So it might be like, you say your favourite coffee and you say your favourite bagel, and if you match, then you meet
That's
up.
it. You're together forever.
Black coffee.
Black
yeah.
coffee,
Oh.
Dan.
I don't think I've ever seen you have a black coffee whenever we're out. You always have like caramel latte or some other thing with
not
extra
true.
cream.
False information.
What's your favourite bagel?
For breakfast,
Yeah,
In the world.
tuna. For lunch, tuna, sweet corn, gherkin, and maybe a bit of beetroot.
Fucking
Oh,
hell.
beetroot's out there. You're not matching with anyone on that. Just because it's rare, I don't hate it.
It's
But
quirky.
beetroot's very earthy, and obviously tuna's very seedy. Ben, what would your favourite bagel be?
Probably something simple like a cheese and ham bagel.
Very processed cheese.
Maybe.
In the microwave.
You're both doing me now, but yes, maybe. Also.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then
Tom?
a milky coffee latte.
Oat milk, flat white. There's my usual go-to bagel. Don't mind us. Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? Really, you think about it logically.
Seem liking a poppy seed one. Just plain
Salmon,
salmon.
and cream
Salmon?
cheese.
Oh, wow. Didn't expect that.
Back in the fish game now. Yeah, I like salmon. So sue me. Don't. To the rest of the world, Stephen McCullagh didn't look like a killer. Despite his large physical frame, many considered him a gentle giant, with his online presence projecting the energy of a soft, harmless, self-proclaimed nerd who wouldn't hurt a fly. Online, he was known to tens of thousands of people as Vote Saxon07, a quirky, high-energy content creator on YouTube who spent a lot of his time talking about figurines, Doctor Who, Robot Wars, and building up an online community from his small bungalow in the nearby city of Lisburn. Long before he became the internet personality, Stephen's story began just a few miles away from Natalie, who was born on the 17th of February 1990 in Lisburn, which is in the neighbouring county of Antrim. But unlike the vibrant, tight-knit family home that Natalie grew up in, Stephen's personal life was filled with extensive isolation, tragedy, as well as rejection. He was the only child born to parents John and Heather McCullagh. The pair were very loving and passionate towards their son's endeavours. Unfortunately, his mother passed away when he was 24 years old, and his father passed away just a few months later due to cancer when Stephen was just 25. Little to no information is publicly available about either his mother or father, and there's very little to go off in terms of his childhood or background. He had no siblings to lean on, and the loss of his mother in particular left him utterly detached from any kind of real-world family network. Nothing else is known about his extended family or friends during this period, and very is little known about his school life. After his parents' passing, the only connection he had to his family, he claims, were his weekly visits to clean their graves.
So his YouTube channel has been deleted, but some of the content was archived, and you can see some clips of his parents being involved. And I mean, they're only short clips that you see them, but they do seem like very nice, caring, happy people. They seem quite a couple of characters. But yeah, their passing seemed to change Stephen dramatically.
As a teenager, Stephen attended Fort Hill Integrated College in Lisburn. Those that were able to remember him recalled him as someone far different from the YouTuber they later came to know. They stated that he was the oddball in school who exhibited a volatile and unpredictable temperament from a young age. When his father passed away from lung cancer, Stephen claimed that he picked up his father's smoking addiction as a coping mechanism for this, smoking 40 a day.
There's a lot on it.
That is a lot.
There's a lot, yeah.
Was that like 2 packets?
There were 2 packs of 20, yeah, definitely. It was 4 packs of 10.
Yeah.
40 packs of 1, which is a really bad financial decision.
Bad for the environment.
Yeah.
How can I carry on that?
1 pack of 40.
So Stephen was smoking 40 a day and later vaping by trying to mirror his father's behaviours. Stephen would later admit to his online followers that the loss of both of his parents so quickly left him deeply low, cynical and depressed. It made him want to retreat even further away from the real world. After finishing school, Stephen decided to go straight into work. He got his first job, which was apparently just a regular office job. However, due to a number of different reasons, he would only stay here for a month or so before deciding to go back into education. A former colleague from this company, an anonymous co-worker who sat near him in the office, called Stephen a socially awkward misfit. They described a young man who really struggled to fit in and adjust comfortably to the office environment. Stephen flatly refused to engage with anyone. Instead, he would sit through his entire shift with a large pair of headphones on.
It's not this bit that's making me think of you. It's the quote.
Okay, yeah. Instead, he would sit through his entire shift with a large pair of headphones on, stubbornly refusing to even take off his heavy outdoor raincoat. It was as if he couldn't wait to leave. In fact, the only time that colleagues would hear anything from Stephen is when they heard him cracking open cans of energy drinks or loudly and uncomfortably chomping on Pringles to fill the empty air.
For those who don't know, Dan is renowned for being allowed.
No, was.
It's different now, he changed.
Oh no, I've made a real effort to clamp down on this habit.
Clamp down with the problem. Yeah, Pringles are notoriously loud, crisp. And me and Ben were giggling at the idea of Dan chomping away on some Pringles in an office, getting the glares from people and just happily nonchalant.
I have had glares before on trains and stuff, yeah.
I mean, as well, the sitting through an entire, office shift in an outdoor raincoat is quite a power move.
Sweaty, I imagine. Well, as well, like if that's a tall tube of Pringles, that is a lot
cans of energy drinks, plural.
Oh yeah. Don't be doing that. One absolute maximum, and that it has to be an afternoon one. It can't be a morning one. Something like fizzy in the morning. It's just. But yeah,
I used to work with someone who never ate breakfast or lunch, had a dinner, but at work would only have Lucasade orange throughout the day and would chomp on hard-boiled sweets for the entirety of his shift, and his teeth were like chipped in half pretty much.
Jesus, that's bizarre, isn't it? The thought of that and not thinking that that's hard-boiled sweets. I've never craved a hard-boiled sweet in my life.
I mean, yeah, I've never craved one. From time to time I fancy one, but one will do me. And I'll suck on it hard.
Yeah, it's a good job. Wow. Good job. What about the sweet? Anyway, Karen.
So unsurprisingly, it wasn't long before Stephen left or was forced to leave this role.
So it's very interesting to hear the backgrounds of both Natalie and Stephen, and you're not putting them together. Like, you're not thinking those two would get on like a house on fire. Obviously coming from very different family units. Obviously, sadly, Stephen lives with his parents at a relatively young age, and Natalie having a nice family unit. You can imagine she's probably got the life that he would want in that instance. And yeah, Stephen being a bit unsure where he wants to go with life, ending up in this job for a short period of time, not at all socialising. I mean, I had loads of jobs I didn't enjoy, but the social side of it and talking to people and colleagues were the bit that made it bearable. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's not. You're not immediately going, oh yeah, they make sense.
I think what's interesting is as well, like, he almost creates this character of his YouTube channel, because I bet no one in this office job would have said, oh, look at his YouTube channel, but I would definitely, that makes sense. I think it's almost as if he's in such an unhappy place that this YouTube kind of saved him.
What's he talking about? Doctor Who and Robot Wars. Okay, it kind of makes sense. No offense to anyone who likes Doctor Who and Robot Wars.
Yeah, Dan's face.
Yeah, live it.
No, I'm not a fan of Doctor Who.
To be fair, when I was a kid, Robot Wars was good viewing.
Robot Wars was fucking sick.
Craig Charles, was it Craig Charles doing the commentary?
And before that, Jeremy Clarkson.
Bloody hell.
Was it actually Jeremy Clarkson?
Series 1.
Wow.
Maybe more about that later, maybe.
But yeah, his YouTuber persona, maybe I could, even then it's hard without trying to think of it without the context of this case, but as Tom said, I can't see their day-to-day lives at this point matching well, but this new person he creates with his YouTuber persona maybe would be more...
An opposites attract, eh?
That's also true, Tom. That's also true in some cases.
Tara's lovely. And so are you, so it's not...
It doesn't always. Yeah.
Stephen's first work experience left him with a general distaste for office jobs and people in general. This led him to enrol at SCRC, the South Eastern Regional College. Here, he studied creative media production and eventually graduated with a Level 3 certificate with distinction. After this, he landed what some may consider his dream job, as an assistant audience editor at the Belfast Telegraph. It was only part-time, it was flexible hours, and it was fully remote. He received training in digital media, audience engagement, analytics, digital algorithms, video editing, and social media trends. What we do.
Yeah, we could do with someone like Stephen. No, we couldn't. Nah, wouldn't fit in.
And, though it was a technical role, it allowed Stephen to retreat entirely into his comfort zone. He worked exclusively on the night shifts by himself, isolated at home in his bungalow, communicating with the outside world only through emails and instant messages on a computer screen. As a result, Stephen became a heavily isolated, tech-obsessive hermit, spending his days eating fast food and decorating his lonely Lisbon bungalow with a large curated collection of boxed sci-fi figurines.
He works in social media, figurines. I'm like, oh, I've got lots of Simpson figurines and I do that as a job.
I've got one wrestling figure in the cab. Oh, actually, I've got some Kiss figurines as well.
Figurines in that cabin.
And the other day, Tara called them dolls, and I nearly got rid of them all.
Got Austin Powers ones as well.
I've got an Austin Powers one. Yeah, it's Clark. Do you want to see the Austin Powers one, Dan?
Yeah.
Doesn't want to. Yeah.
Well, they're filming the next Austin Powers at the moment.
They are. Oh, baby. How much is that then?
Like £8 off eBay.
£8.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go up in value.
What can you get for £8? Pot of some Pringles?
3 Pringles, I expect. 3 pots, I mean.
And lots of boiled sweeties.
But that quiet, lonely bungalow didn't just house his collection of figures and empty takeaway boxes. It was also the backdrop for a pattern of domestic abuse.
In late 2015, when Stephen was 25, he started a relationship with a young lady who many have described as his first proper girlfriend. It was around the same time specifically that Stephen found real success with his 2010 formed YouTube channel, Vote Saxon 07.
Shit name.
Yeah, but he'd still got growth with it.
Yeah, no, I'm not denying that.
I'm not a fan of it.
Sounds like a random generated sort of name. That you...
So this relationship would last on and off for the next 7 years, and it was incredibly turbulent to say the least. The pair were initially friends before entering the relationship together, and it was punctuated by numerous breaks due to several different reasons. His former girlfriend, who has remained anonymous, recalled the following about one of their first serious arguments.
One night, we'd been talking about if we'd been talking to anyone else. I said no, but it was a lie. He didn't believe me. He asked to look at my phone, and he saw photos and messages I'd sent to someone else. He started getting upset and crying and getting angry. I tried to calm him down, but it wasn't working. He pushed me abruptly, yanked the phone off me, and pushed me into the bathtub. He then said he was going to drive me home, but he punched me in the temple whilst driving really fast. I opened the door and tried to jump out of a moving car, but he pulled me back in. He said I could kill myself on my own time.
Yeah, that's highly disturbing.
That is.
I mean, obviously, yeah, finding out someone, your partner's cheating on you, you're going to be emotional, but there's no excusing that behaviour whatsoever.
No.
And even, like we said, that's the first glimpse for us in terms of his temper, which, you know, his ex-schoolmates have said, but the callousness of that line at the end.
Yeah.
Kill yourself in your own time. That's kind of a little bit of a peep into how his mind works, and as Ben mentioned earlier on the little Easter egg things, I kind of think he has a bit of a Marvel evil kind of brain.
Evil villain, yeah.
Mm.
And around this time, he's then going back and doing, like, you know, figurine model making videos, you know, with his happy jolly persona when there's this, you know, underneath in real life. So though his ex-girlfriend initially filed a police report, she went on to withdraw it 48 hours later due to fear of sending Stephen to prison. She continued,
I thought him hitting me was him trying to knock some sense into me, because that's what he always said. I didn't want him going to prison. I found out I was pregnant on the 7th of January. I got contractions and went to the doctor. Unfortunately, the baby was stillborn. When I moved back in with Stephen afterwards, I sought answers to understand what had happened between us. If the pushes or the punches might have been the reason we lost the baby, but this only made him more furious.
yeah, so that is absolutely harrowing. And there's a few other documentaries out there about Stephen, but a lot of this part is kind of missed out, which I found quite shocking. But this is really revealing into his character and his nature, and how terrifying for that person to be having a fear to say, you know, not only have we lost the baby, but this might be the reason why. It's terrifying.
This individual we're talking about, to think that it's him knocking sense into her is just a horrible thought. Yeah.
So this ex-girlfriend went on to seek professional support to process her trauma, and she began undertaking private grief counselling sessions inside Stephen's bungalow. Now, many years later, when police cybercrime experts were analysing Stephen's flat and his hard drives due to a very separate crime, they made a particularly disturbing discovery. Stephen had used his media recording software to secretly and illegally audio record his vulnerable girlfriend as she wept to her therapist. He wanted to know how much personal information she was sharing with the therapist about their relationship, and she had absolutely no idea that she was being monitored. That's another first sign of his, professional skills that he's now going to use to commit crimes. Bloke's a wanker.
The couple split up for good in the summer of 2022. By this point, Stephen's YouTube channel had grown a great deal. Over the 7-year period, Vote Saxon 07, which is a handle borrowed from a famous 2007 Doctor Who storyline and character, had gained more than 37,000 subscribers and published over 650 videos. just going to quickly check what that character is, because...
It's like a political opponent to someone. It looked fucking like I think it's a bad character, if I remember rightly.
It's called the Master, Harold Saxon.
Is he a goodie or a baddie, Dan?
Looks like a baddie.
Played by
arch nemesis.
John Sim, and yeah, he's a baddie.
Oh dear.
Yeah, a Doctor Who baddie, essentially.
Looks like Limmy.
Sorry?
He looks like Limmy, the Scottish comedian.
He does a little bit. Definitely.
But yeah, baddie.
Through the computer screen, he wasn't an awkward coat-wearing Prinkle Munch misfit. He was a producer at Boston Sound. He was a confident, animated content creator who successfully fooled 37,000 subscribers into believing he was entirely harmless. In fact, many fans of his considered him to be a comfort YouTuber. You got a few of those, Ben, don't you? You find
lots of comfort YouTubers. He didn't make the cut. But yeah, I use YouTube to fall asleep more than anything else. I don't know if that's common these days.
It has to be what podcast?
Oh yeah, turn it face down, yeah.
Oh.
Or turn the brightness right to the bottom and like watch the start and then I'll roll over. Get premium, because the ads are mad.
I still click no every time. I'll watch an ad.
They're fucking loud compared to everything else, so I dropped my Spotify premium and I invested in YouTube premium.
The intro music to The Office, American Office, is the loudest thing in the world.
Literally. As
his channel's popularity peaked, Stephen's digital reputation even earned him a foot in the door of the mainstream television industry. His encyclopedic knowledge of combat robotics, as well as his many homemade robot toys, landed him an official role working behind the scenes on Series 9 and as an on-screen support member for S-Tech and Push to Exit teams in Series 10 of the BBC's hit revival of Robot Wars.
This part shocked me. I'd seen clips of the case and I'd seen his YouTube channel years ago, but I had no idea he'd, made it to mainstream TV. And you see him in like the sort of CGI kind of team poses, and this really caught me off guard. I didn't expect it.
On his television debut, right before one of his robots' major bouts, Stephen looked directly into the camera, smirked, and delivered the following pun. "We're gonna kill ourselves some robot tears. Some robot tears. I'll see myself out."
Does have that evil villain streak in him.
It doesn't really work. You don't kill yourself with robot tears.
Robot tears, yeah.
To his online community, he was a complete success story, a passionate fan who had successfully turned his niche hobby into a legitimate media career. But so much more was about to unravel far beyond the TV and computer screens.
So it was revealed around this time as well that Stephen had made a short film titled Grip, and he did part of this while studying at college, and we'll pop some images up of it. Now he's wearing a vest in almost all the scenes that he's in. But he plays a character basically where he offers a woman drugs in exchange for sex before ultimately double-crossing her and then fantasizing about murdering her, which is problematic.
It's got a bit of a Wolverine look to him in the stills, I can see.
Wolverine, that's complimentary.
Well, just the sideburns. Basically. Mutton chops.
I used to have sideburns. Big old, fat old sideburns. Not anymore.
Not long after his breakup, Stephen made the decision to download the dating app Bumble. In August of 2022, he matched with Natalie McNally. After a few messages back and forth, the pair agreed to go on a date. At this point, Stephen was 32 and Natalie was 31. In the early stages of the connection, the romance between the pair felt incredibly easy and natural. Natalie believed she had found exactly what she was looking for, a sweet, quirky and intelligent guy who shared a love for quiet nights in and creative hobbies. While Stephen appeared to be fixated on Natalie, the pair soon entered a relationship. Because Stephen was a prominent content creator, he was naturally articulate and charismatic when he wanted to be. He knew exactly how to present himself as the harmless, mild-mannered, gentle giant that his YouTube subscribers loved. He played the part of the doting, supportive boyfriend flawlessly, and Natalie seemed to adore him for it. It wasn't long before Stephen was introduced to Natalie's family. For a man who had been living a life of deep, hollow isolation in recent years, stepping into the McNally home must have felt like entering a completely different world. But the tight-knit, loving family didn't look at Stephen with any kind of suspicion. Instead, they opened their arms to him completely. Noel, Bernie and Natalie's 3 older brothers welcomed Stephen into their inner circle with open hearts. Out of pure kindness and noticing how solitary Stephen seemed to be in his own life, the McNallys treated him like one of their own, cooking him dinners, inviting him to numerous family gatherings, and making sure that he always felt included. To everyone looking on from the outside, the relationship was a rapid and beautiful success. Natalie was thriving, deeply content and excited for the future, and by October of 2022, just a few months after that fateful first swipe on Bumble, the couple received a piece of news that would change everything. Natalie discovered that she was pregnant with Stephen's child.
So yeah, he's again living multiple different lives at this point. From looking at this, it seems as though he was playing his YouTube persona in real life here to Natalie, and she herself was into, puzzles and art and things like that, so they connected very early on. But she knew nothing about what he'd done previously, and that's the terrifying part, and is what had happened with his former partner.
At a time that was a huge cause for celebration and excitement, the relationship between Stephen and Natalie, which again had only lasted 3 months, began to slowly strain. To Natalie, the romance felt completely secure. Their daily messages were a picture of perfect normality, packed with innocent chit-chat, love poems, and excited talk about moving in together. Stephen was looking at building a house extension for them, and they affectionately referred to their unborn baby as Little Squish. Across nearly 500 pages of WhatsApp messages, which were later presented in court, there wasn't a single trace of an argument or a nasty word between the pair. However, behind his loving words, Stephen was silently harbouring a toxic, dangerous obsession that seemed to directly echo on from his previous relationship. It is not completely clear what prompted this, but Stephen suddenly became incredibly insecure and controlling. He decided that he wanted to look at Natalie's phone in order to see if she was messaging someone else. He managed to somehow secretly see the PIN number she used for her phone, and one night, when she fell asleep, driven by intense jealousy, he secretly scrolled through Natalie's private messages. After many minutes of silent scrolling, he grew into an absolute rage. What he found shattered his illusion of control. Natalie had been messaging 3 other men, including an ex-boyfriend, exchanging explicit messages and discussing her pregnancy. However, it was her text to close friends that delivered the final blow. She texted one male friend to confess she was feeling really uneasy about her future with Stephen, admitting she was considering breaking up with him in the new year because she couldn't bear to do that with someone at Christmas. She told this friend flatly, "There is no point in acting like happy families if it's not what I want." Which is damning to find out and read. That is a brutal blow to Stephen's world.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously we know the horrible actions that Stephen decided to take in his previous relationship when finding out about other messages, and his anger, him being quick to anger, and I feel like that's a side of him Natalie probably hadn't experienced by this point because he had been, putting his character forward. But again, I was surprised at the escalation last time, and it's terrifying just how far the escalation goes from this point.
Well, as well, they'd only been together for 2 or 3 months at this point, so it all was happening very, very quickly. And then just the idea that he's watched her enter this PIN number, so he's got it. She waited for her to fall asleep because for some reason, he's either from his previous experience or within that first few months with Natalie, he's grown insecure very, very quickly. The idea of him waiting for her to fall asleep and then opening that phone, but then remaining calm while seeing all of this, despite what we know he's capable of doing, is quite a frightening thought.
Despite the overwhelming anger he felt from discovering these messages, he calmly put the phone back in its place, went to bed next to his girlfriend, and woke up the next day as if nothing happened. He didn't confront her, he didn't question her, he simply went about his day as normal. The pair gave each other a hug and a kiss. Natalie went to work, and from this moment onwards, Stephen began plotting. And it is here we move on to the timeline of Stephen McCullagh from YouTuber to murderer.
So we begin on December 13th and 14th of 2022 in the city of Lisburn, Northern Ireland. During this 48-hour period, an enraged Stephen sat in his bungalow and quietly put his media skills to work. Using his video recording software, he began methodically filming what he believed would be his foolproof escape card. A massive 6-hour and 4-minute YouTube video game broadcast scheduled to air on Sunday, December 18th. Using the Christmas theme, he named the quote-unquote live stream Violent Night, as a play on the popular Christmas carol Silent Night. Over those 2 days, he sat in his gaming chair wearing a Santa hat, pouring cans of Guinness and taking multiple shots of Baileys for the camera to simulate a live Sunday night drinking session and interacting with an imaginary audience.
So with this, obviously with a live stream, you go live and you're interacting with your viewers. But a lot of people do a thing where you basically pre-upload and you do more kind of a premiere on YouTube where it appears like you're live and people can still comment and interact, but you can't interact back because it's not live. Compared to a normal video which you just upload and it's not given that kind of mantle. So his plan here is essentially he's trying to make it look like he is live. We'll go into how he does little things where he thinks is his clever ways of making it seem as if it is actually all happening in that way, and thinking that this is going to be enough to fool and hoodwink people. But yeah, it's basically him trying to say, I'm at this place at this time doing this.
It's as well, which is unusual for cases we cover, how much time he's taking with the absolute rage that he would have been in. And we talked about what happened with his ex-partner. He's remained calm, he's thought about it, and he's made this really quite intricate plan, which takes days to prepare and gives him a 6-hour window, which he thinks will be the perfect alibi. It's quite terrifying. So as he started recording these videos, he introduced everything. We're going to play some clips for you shortly, but he basically, this 6 hour and a bit session consisted of him playing Grand Theft Auto Vice City and Robot Wars Arenas of Destruction during those hours. He chose both of these games specifically due to the fact that they had single-player versions that could be played for multiple hours, and therefore he wouldn't encounter other players that would impact his alibi. So basically, if he played any multiplayer games where he could chat with people, they'd know the actual date. He carefully laced the recording with pre-scripted comments complaining about his upcoming work week. He also faked technical glitches with his imaginary live chat and repeatedly made reference of the supposed current time, and he even looked straight into the camera lens to promise his future viewers, "I just realized I'm literally going to be drinking and driving. In the game, by the way, I'm not leaving the house tonight." We'll play a clip for you now.
Well, because this streaming software is kind of up the left, it means I can't check the live chat, which is a real shame. So, by all means, talk amongst yourselves. I could use my phone to dip in every now and again and check it, but I've decided that I kind of hate live streams where people just sit and read comments and go, "Oh my God, yes, ask me questions." So, yeah, phones away. Can't look at the live chat for some bloody reason, because if I do, it makes the whole thing freeze and OBS just screws up. In fact, I'm still live. Good.
So disturbingly, whilst playing Vice City, Stephen chose to complete an optional side mission titled Waste the Wife, in which the player must kill a woman and then stage her death as an accident. It took Stephen 2 attempts to complete this mission, and during his second attempt, he stated, "I need to kill this bitch. I need to take her down. Time is of the essence. I nearly got the bitch. One more head-on hit, and that would have been her. Lovely stuff. That's what we like to see." Roughly 10 minutes after completing the digital murder, Stephen crashed his car in the game. He then looked directly into the camera, smiled, and uttered the following bizarre play on words. "That's physics. That's what would happen in the real world. Abso-fucking-Natalie. Abso-fucking-Natalie."
Which is really weird.
And it's when he does the whole Natalie kind of glances at the camera. It's fucking... This whole sequence is terrifying. And when he's introducing it as well, he's very quickly to make point of the date, the time, the fact that, "Oh, I'm having some bugs with my live chat. I can't see your messages, but please keep sending them, all the while knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's the fact that he's doing this, actually, like we've mentioned about even when he discovered the messages, he's still so calm and calculated. And in his brain, he knows exactly what's going to happen and how he's doing these things. And even though he's dropping these weird little horrible Easter eggs and eerie moments in this live stream, it's still just very calm and collected.
Yeah. 100%. And it makes your skin crawl knowing that, as Ben mentioned, this happened. He had this plan underway for a few days, and he would have seen her throughout this time and sat with her, had dinner with her, communicated with her, and, you know, in theory being completely normal, but inside knowing what he wanted to do. And she was pregnant with a child. Like, that's the thing not to forget here. Like, to add an extra layer of absolutely horror to this case.
That's the part. Well, there's so much of this case that I struggle with, but I struggle to see him, based on everything we've been through so far, I struggle to see him managing to stay composed and calm, which makes it even more fucking eerie that he sat here for 6 hours over 2 days doing this. But the Easter eggs that he's laying, we're going to talk about another one now, which is insane. I don't know what the end goal there was. If he thought he was going to get away with it, but then people would look at this, you know, quote unquote live stream and see all these mentions of Natalie on the night that it would actually happen. It's
the thing is, it kind of reflects what he wants his life to be. It's the control, and then it's almost the insane levels of arrogance.
Yeah.
Like dropping these things, and like you said, Ben, he kind of thought, not that he wants to get caught, but it is like almost like a middle finger to the outside world, going, I can do this, I'm entitled to do this because I found out this horrible news in my world. So
it's kind of like the Riddler and Batman, kind of leaving little clues about, and not to besmirch riddles, Dan.
No.
Yeah, I just get that theory. Yeah, he thinks he's the smartest person in the room, and he's yeah. You definitely, if you're watching some of his live stream, you get that kind of impression that he thinks he's, you know, yeah, it's horrible to watch.
So yeah, this abso-fucking Natalie, we'll play that short clip for you now, because it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's physics. That's what would happen in the real world. Abso-fucking-Natalie. Abso-fucking-Natalie.
Finally, at what would have been the likely real-time murder of Natalie, Stephen's video went to an intentional brief intermission break. And apparently he did this often in his live streams, but this was slightly different. It is believed that he did this to make the stream look even more authentic. Instead of showing his usual live stream back soon graphic, the screen completely changed for 5 seconds, where it displayed a promotional poster for the James Bond film, No Time to Die. And directly after the James Bond poster flashed, Stephen reappeared on the screen. And he again has this little kind of cheap smirk on his face. He'd never, made reference to James Bond throughout the stream, but this No Time to Die has popped up at supposedly the exact time that would line up when he arrived at her house.
Oh, God.
So now, drinking heavily from his Bailey's bottle, he began discussing his own take on his real personality versus his drunk one. He said, "I've realized I'm a really angry drunk, but in real life, I'm an absolute sweetheart. I don't have too many loved ones in my life, but the ones I do, I love with all my heart." By the early hours of Thursday, December 15th, the massive video file was finalized and ready to be scheduled. In the hours before the murder, Stephen went onto social media and his YouTube community feature to post advertisements and drum up short notice anticipation amongst his 37,000 subscribers for a surprise live Christmas stream. And yeah, there are screenshots of this and loads of people reacting to it, saying how excited they were, they couldn't believe it. People were genuinely watching this thing, believing it was live. He was deliberately constructing a digital ghost to sit in his gaming chair, completely unaware that his perfect alibi would eventually become the very piece of evidence that sealed his fate. Although Stephen's done all of this now, made his plans, scheduled everything, and there'll be other, items that he prepares, there was another piece of information that he wasn't aware of after discovering these messages on his phone. And that was that Natalie had actually met up with her ex-partner in October, around the time that she fell pregnant, which Stephen didn't know about. It's been reported that there were intimate encounters there, which again, you can only imagine if he had found out about that, how he would have reacted.
The afternoon of December 18th, Natalie has spent the afternoon at her parents' home watching the dramatic World Cup final between Argentina and France, whilst enjoying a roast dinner with her family, who doted on her. Sometime before 6 p.m, Stephen messaged her to say he was heading home to stream the night away on YouTube. So yeah, it hits him laying the breadcrumbs there for anyone who looks at phone records, and obviously if she was to log on, she would see the live stream going ahead, and yeah, all playing to his plan. Completely unaware of the trap he had laid, Natalie texted her boyfriend back with the words that would later haunt investigators. "Good luck, I might take a peek at your live stream later." By this point, Natalie was 15 weeks pregnant with a baby boy she conceived with Stephen, an unborn son that her family would later name Dean. At 6 p.m, Stephen's scheduled live stream was published on YouTube, whilst Natalie made her way back to the house, arriving at approximately 7 p.m. Meanwhile, Stephen turned his phone off and put his plan to action. To mask his physical frame, he put together an elaborate disguise, wearing heavy dark clothing, 2 pairs of gloves, and a beanie hat and black curly wig combination he had previously shown off on Instagram. Not the best. It's one of those disguises where you draw attention to yourself massively.
100%. We'll pop the image of the hat and wig combo, because it's
Is that the image that you said that Bonsey looked like?
No.
It just looked the same.
Oh yeah, to be fair. I mean, I don't think it does, but...
I don't think you look like that once, but...
But if you see that getting, walking around at night, large frame, you'd
head
look.
turner.
Yeah, head turner, yeah. I think Tom's right. You're drawing attention to yourself.
He then walked 2 miles from his bungalow to Dunmurray, where he caught a bus to Lurgan. He sat silently at the back of the bus, carrying a large rucksack and a green shopping bag. He arrived in Lurgan at around 8:52 p.m, and was caught with his hood up on numerous home security and CCTV cameras approaching the Silverwood Green estate, by sneaking through a local golf course. After removing his disguise, he is then believed to have knocked on Natalie's door and been allowed into the property due to no signs of forced entry. In the 38 minutes between 8:52 p.m. and 9:30 p.m, while his digital self was loudly yelling at video game characters on screen, the real-life Stephen McCullagh subjected Natalie McNally to brutal, relentless and prolonged assault, strangling, beating and stabbing her to death. 2 neighbours would later report hearing screams, but neither contacted the police. Soon after, a taxi driver collected a male passenger outside Fat Joe's bar on Carnegie Street and took him to a house in Lisburn.
This male passenger that this taxi driver picked up informed the driver that his mum was sick, so could you drop me off a bit further down from the house so that I don't wake her up because she's resting. So he basically was able to get the taxi driver to drop him off at a different address. He's also travelled a distance to get in a taxi, far away from Natalie's house. So he's again trying to create some distance here.
Maybe it was, yeah.
I'm assuming he's still put that disguise back on as well, presumably.
At 11:16 p.m, Stephen's phone was turned back on and pinged from within his bungalow. At 5 past midnight, the automated livestream concluded. Stephen walked down his driveway to casually put out his bins, sat back down at his desk and deleted the master video file from his computer. He'd be doing that because if you were to do a live stream, it wouldn't be saving it onto your computer, but obviously he uploaded the file separately. A post-mortem examination later revealed that, beside numerous stab wounds to the neck, Natalie had been brutally beaten and had several facial fractures along with broken bones in her neck. She also had a number of classic defence wounds to her hands, arms and wrists. The autopsy report detailed a total of 48 separate injuries across her body.
Yeah. So this whole me making a point of him staying calm and composed these 4 or 5 days, and then he's unleashed this is sustained and incredibly violent.
Yeah, it feels like he's deliberately now turning into, this is punishing her. It's not quick, it's not painless, it's deliberate.
It's also, he's punishing, it's his unborn son, punishing her family, punishing people that let her, denying those parents being grandparents, denying those brothers being uncles, killing his own child as well, and within this, even if he thinks Natalie's done wrong, the sheer callousness of it all is horrendous.
And this estate that she lives on, there's lots of houses nearby, There were other theories that whoever may have done this may have gone in through the rear of the property and there's a balcony area, but it was later revealed that they'd just got in with no signs of forced entry. And what's particularly terrifying is those two neighbours hearing screams.
I know, it's not like, if you ever hear a scream which sounds unnormal in your neighbourhood or a neighbour, it is no harm whatsoever to make a call, isn't it? I mean, and I'm not, I'm sure those people have felt incredibly guilty. I'm not trying to, throw shade at them, but you just never know, do you? So, yeah, it's heartbreaking.
On the night of Monday, December 19th, nearly 24 hours after the attack, Stephen executed the next phase of his plan. He travelled back to Silverwood Green under the guise of a concerned boyfriend, later claiming he was worried because Natalie was diabetic and hadn't been answering his text messages. At approximately 9:50 p.m, he called 999 from inside her home, initiating a 10-minute emergency call that prosecutors would later brand a completely fabricated performance. During the call, he stated, "Please come as soon as you can. She's pregnant, she's cold. There's blood everywhere." And we'll play another clip of the phone call for you now.
Service, is the patient breathing?
Sorry?
Is the patient breathing?
No! She's cold!
Okay. Listen, what's the address of the emergency, please? What's the address? Okay, I can barely hear you, okay? So just repeat that address for me, please. You'll need to check for me just to make sure we're going to the right place because we need to help this patient, okay?
Okay.
Check the address, please.
Okay.
When asked if Natalie was breathing, he wept, "No, she's gone." He then went out of his way to tell the operator that Natalie was 15 weeks pregnant and that they were supposed to go for their baby scan the very next day. When the first police officers and paramedics arrived at the scene, they walked into a house of horrors. Natalie was lying at the top of the stairs, face down near her dog's bowl, surrounded by a pool of blood. The silver blade used to end her life was resting on the living room floor just a few feet away. Standing over her body, hyperventilating and pretending to administer CPR, was Stephen. He was acting so hysterical that he was literally falling about the place, forcing a sympathetic police officer to try and calm him down, saying on her body-worn camera, "I know this is hard, mate. I apologise about this." But as soon as the police got him downstairs, Stephen's grief quickly shifted into calculation. He looked at the officers and immediately tried to direct their attention away from himself. He told them he knew exactly who was responsible, pointing the finger at one of Natalie's innocent ex-partners and claiming the man had been dangerously stalking and harassing her. However, paramedics noticed that Natalie's hands and lips had turned blue and that there was a foul odour in the house.
Again, maybe it's a thread that I'm just pulling at here with the idea of he seems very cinematic within his approach and very movie-like, and again, that's a very TV trope or crime trope in movies. I know you did this, I'll get revenge. Kind of that kind of that kind of idea, then immediately pinning it on someone. It's like, yeah, it's too quick. Obviously, we know the first people the police will look at will be the partner,
yeah,
which is horrendous and stuff. That is a thing, but it makes sense completely. And then ex-partners. So you don't need to be saying this at this stage. And if your partner's laying in front of you, your pregnant partner, you're not thinking about that. You're thinking about what you've lost.
Because the other thing is, he'd seen these messages from this person, so there would have been enough in those messages for him to think, if they look at these messages, maybe that would implicate this ex-partner, because there was an interesting history with this partner that maybe Stephen knew about. So number one, he was known to be a heavy drug user in the local scene. So when police would go on to interview this guy, they would find lots of drugs in his house. And then number two, when this ex found out about Natalie being murdered, he deleted a load of texts that he had sent her, which made him look, not Stephen, this ex deleted the texts. So I don't know what those messages might have been, but they were potentially incriminating enough for him to decide to delete them, which again, when the police are looking at him, this ex suddenly now becomes the number one suspect rather than Stephen.
And also, just to quickly go back to that 999 call, I think, Ben, you mentioned it's very Michael Peterson.
Yeah.
There is a particular tone to that sort of energy. And of course, if it's a genuine scary situation and you're having to dial 999, quite more often than not, people are going to be hysterical and almost uncontrollable. But there's a certain tone in his voice that you can tell, this feels a little bit performancy.
Yeah.
There's also the delaying the answering of the question by saying things like sorry, like you haven't heard it, and then you've got the time for them to think about what they want to say. And people
what?
Yeah,
stairs.
Exactly that. It's like interrogations as well. Yeah, often they'll be like they do things naturally too. If they're thinking on their feet to pause things, say sorry, and it's like, to be honest, we've had a lot of 999 calls where the signal is pretty dog, but this is actually very crystal clear what the person is saying to him. Yeah, is she breathing, shouting no and things like that. So, yeah, it seems very over the top and hamming it up massively.
Yeah, definitely.
When officers asked Stephen where he'd been the previous night during the estimated time of the murder, he calmly played his ultimate card. He explained that he couldn't possibly have been involved in Natalie's murder because he had spent the entire previous evening streaming. Though Stephen was initially arrested, he was released the following day. For 43 days, he thought he had gotten away with murder. And, while Natalie's entirely innocent other ex-partner was briefly arrested and also released as the initial smoke cleared, Stephen Crawley spent the next 6 weeks infiltrating the McNally's family grief.
Looks like he's wearing one of those blazers he used to wear, Ben, with the badges on.
Fuck off. Blazers with badges. He does like a blazer. He does wear, it's either blazers or vests. There isn't a lot of in between for him. So basically, yes, as Tom said, he loved a blazer, did Stephen, but he would attend public vigils and things like that, and he'd be seen, not at the foreground, he'd be sort of hiding towards the background there. He wouldn't be front and present, but yeah, very weird images here of him looking quite comfortable in this environment.
He probably is, isn't he? He probably is feeling.
He thinks he's got away with it. 43 days.
Yeah.
Let me say he looks comfortable. You can't really see his face. It's just a blurry face. If anything, he looks uncomfortable, I'd say. But.
Yeah.
So Stephen attended a funeral, sitting by Natalie's coffin at her wake, showing her parents an engagement ring he had purchased, forgetting his phone at their house to secretly record them, and even manipulating her devastated parents into cooking him dinners while pretending to be an inconsolable boyfriend. What a fucking...
That part really fucked me off.
Been with her for a few months, basically. And then obviously just the fact that the parents as well, like, that's why I always say this, they don't want to believe that he's guilty in this. They probably hadn't even crossed their mind that it possibly could be him.
He couldn't have done it, Tom. He was live streaming, and they've all bought that.
But also, I can imagine parents in that situation want to latch on to some sort of connection to their lost ones, and Stephen's there. They were together.
Yep.
They seemingly had a wonderful relationship, and so...
Stephen's lost his son as well, so, you know.
However, Stephen's digital shield was already steadily disintegrating. Cybercrime analysts, digging through his hard drives, discovered that his 6-hour live stream had 0 live chat engagement data, and uncovered a pre-recorded master file matching the broadcast that had been manually deleted on the night of the murder. This forensic breakthrough led to his swift rearrest, and on the 23rd of March 2026, a jury at Belfast Crown Court needed just 2 hours to find 36-year-old Stephen McCullagh unanimously guilty of Natalie McNally's murder, resulting in a life sentence with a minimum term of 31 years for the monster who thought he had streamed his way to the perfect crime. It has also been reported that Stephen has since moved to the hospital wing of Magaberry Prison over safety concerns he could be targeted in a revenge attack.
So yeah, there's been his sentencing is obviously very recent at the time of recording. New information has been shared as well. So clips of his interrogation footage, his mugshot, and apparently when police did eventually take him in, he he just replied with no comment more than 80 separate times. And yeah, the picture of his mugshot as well, it looks like he had not been sleeping, looks in a good mess, which I was happy to see. But yeah, his sentencing has obviously made recent news at the time of recording.
What's the Wreck-It Ralph thing?
I thought that was a good lookalike for him, but
For the rearrest picture, it was pretty excited.
he looks fucking rough there, doesn't he?
He does. So yes, that is the case of Stephen McCullagh, from YouTuber to murderer. Truly, truly heartbreaking case. And also one where, you know, someone feels like they're clever enough to outsmart the system, and yeah, it didn't take long for the police to, you know, be able to track down exactly what he did and get him where he rightfully belongs. And yeah, I would love for some people to seek some revenge on him in prison.
I think, like we touched on earlier, it's obvious their relationship was far from perfect, and Natalie obviously had other ideas of her future, but like we touched on, it's almost, for me, they're two completely separate things. There's never a situation like that where someone needs to be punished physically or mentally for that. It's such a shame these things happen so frequently in relationships, and it's just, Stephen obviously had this sense of absolute power in his own mind and thought he could get away with anything, including murder.
No, I completely agree. No, it's it's odd as well. It's always so disturbing. I mean, there's so much plenty of content around the person readily available, and watching it with that in the back of your mind, knowing this person's capable of this, it's very disturbing. Especially for someone who's trying to come across jovial and maybe with a bit of dark sense of humour. But you never know what's going on in people's minds, and that's the truly disturbing thing of true crime, really.
Well, in that 43-day period where, you know, he was maybe still on their radar, but not as much, presumably someone has had to review that live stream footage just to check he didn't leave, you know, at certain times or whatever. So they would have heard all these, like, weird little Easter egg comments that he's making, and these little references to Natalie and killing, but that would have been an interesting period for if someone was reviewing that footage, you know, long before they decided to go and then analyze the hard drive and such, you know, recover these files. But yeah, horrible case, very horrible case, piece of shit of a person. And yeah, heart goes out to Natalie's friends and family.
So guys, it's back for a little bit of light relief. Tommy's trivia. That's terrific. Don't know how terrific it's going to be, but I thought with this case, a bit of nostalgia in there with the mention of Robot Wars. I'm not so much of a Doctor Who fan, but Robot Wars definitely was a theme in my childhood. Watched it, enjoyed it. I think everyone watching that show would go, why the fuck didn't they do this? Or I would build a much better robot than that. Literally. So I wanted to enter the minds of these two gentlemen sat before me and say, A, what was the name of your robot you'd go with? Because I always remember the names being a bit meh. And B, what's the special move? Yeah, and one thing I didn't realise whilst doing some research for this terrific Tommy's trivia, there was actually a weight limitation that you couldn't go over 100 kg, but the house robots, a Killalot and the like, they were able to go above that. So they already had some unfair advantage there. But yes,
bots.
What's your weapon and what's your name?
I'm a bit intimidated.
I've got an answer
already,
which will probably annoy both of you, to be fair.
Go on.
And a few robots did this actually. I wouldn't necessarily have a particular weapon. I would just make my robot indestructible, but also have it. I think there was one particular one that did really well. It was slightly angled. It was like a wedge of cheese.
Yeah.
And it was built in such a way that you couldn't really get into the shell. You could just slide under other robots and flip them. All these robots had like bits going on. They're so easy to grab or.
They were like turtles. Once they're on their back, they were kind of stuck.
Yeah, literally. So that's what I would do. And I would call it Knucklehead.
To be fair, I like that because I like that a lot. I like that a lot. What colour is it? Gonna get Bonsey to AI. Well, what we'll do is after this, we'll AI our own robot and then Bonsey can overlay it. So Knucklehead on screen now. Ben, what about you?
I've immediately went to my weapon, but I don't know if it's going to be a permitted weapon because I never saw it in Robot Wars.
Let me know, and I'll let you know if it passes the rules.
Well, I remember there being someone with a hammer, one robot with like a hammer, with pointy hammer, and then one robot with a flamethrower. Okay. So my robot is going to have the weapon of water.
Of water?
Oh.
And it's called Sergeant Splasher.
Okay.
Or Sir Splash. And basically, any robot that comes near me might not be the most agile robot, but I'll just squirt you, and hopefully your electronics fail, and then by default I win.
Okay, so you're trying to infiltrate by that.
Although if Dan tips me over, I'm going to get water on myself and explode, and it's going to be awful.
Yeah,
So don't you be tipping me over, all right?
Sergeant Splashes.
Squirter.
Sergeant Squirt.
No, I think I said splash.
Squirt.
Squirt.
Okay, I would go with, like Dan, a bit of knowledge on the kind of what did well. Some of the ones that had really good flipping mechanisms, that would do well. So I'm thinking of doing that, and it'd be kind of looking a bit like a spatula, and I'd be called the chef. And I'd be going around like,
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Treating all of my opponents like burgers, essentially.
Yeah,
So
nice.
so guys, let us know which robot would win out of these three: Knucklehead, Little Squirt, and the chef.
Sergeant Squirt.
Let us know, and let us know what your robot would be and what power you'd be and how you destroy ours. It would fascinate to know. But yes, guys, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with a brand new case. And do let us know in the comments if there's any cases you want us to cover. We're always keen to know what you guys want to hear. But like we always say,
we say this all the time.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Unless it's not staying hydrated, of course, because that would be, in this weather, criminal. Thank you to the lovely people at Holy Energy.
Code on the bottom of the screen.
Of course. And if it's not looking after your hydration levels or, vest blazer combination is also questionable. Says the guy in the questionable shirt.
Oh, is that the Peter Scully one?
Yeah.
Just realised.
Just clocked it. Yeah.
I didn't know Peter Scully.
It can't be that bad.
I didn't know Peter Scully had merch.
For fuck's sake. See you later.
Bye.
See ya.
Do a bit.